You know what time it is.
What's up, beer people?
If you heard it on the hashtag beer time, it's true.
It must be true.
It's true. It is fact. Please, won't you name one of your beers Cart Horse?
And just do something terrible. Just brew a shit beer.
Stick your finger in there every now and again.
Stir it with a sock.
Every show, it feels like my first show.
Every show is a new adventure.
Did I make sense there? I think I did.
I love them all.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another show, another episode of Hashtag Beer Time with me, T-Bone Troy, where we talk to beer celebrities and people from around the world. Our guest on this show needs no or little introduction. He is Rob Haynes. Rob Haynes from the League of Beers. He's actually had his fingers in a lot of different entrepreneurial ventures, and we chat about quite a heap of things in the show. We chat about, let's go through the lists. We chat about Australian Brewing Company. We chat about canning in South Africa, Aussie accents, rugby predictions, Yappy Chef and move into retail, Jack Black Brewery. Chat about the new Toast beer, which was actually, we tried the American version of the Toast beer. We chat Tasting League and social media, what they've done for the craft beer industry. We talk about the benefits of crowdfunding and his latest venture, Sugarbird Gin. That was quite an introduction, so I will finish that off and I will let you enjoy our hearty and delightful chat with Rob and yours truly. Enjoy.
It is Tuesday, and on Tuesday we have Hashtag Beer Time. Yes, the show where we talk about all things beer, anything really beer related. Well, I suppose I need to introduce my guest. He needs little introduction if you are familiar with the beer scene in South Africa. He's been around since, I suppose, the inception, the latest inception about 5 years ago. And some consider him to be the prettiest guy in craft beer at the moment. Rob Haynes, welcome to the show.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah, sure. Your voice is golden. Let's just tell the people.
Turn it down a little bit.
Yeah. just tell the people who you are. In a nutshell, who are you? Where are you from? What? Because a lot of people, all the thousands of people that are listening right now, actually don't know perhaps a lot about beer. But just give the people a little introduction about who you are.
Huge in my backyard in my pajamas.
That kind of thing.
That kind of famous. At least a G-list celebrity. My name is Rob. I founded League of Beers in 2012, and while I was part of the Southeasters, Troy, who's opposite me, came and worked for us for a little while in the very early days. Before founding League of Beers, I was fired from Jack Black.
Sure.
Then League
There's
of Beers,
something to talk about.
and League of Beers got going. We were purchased by Yappy Chef. They bought the brand, the boxes, the beers, and me. And I've been operating League of Beers out of Yappy Chef for the last couple of years. We have shipped hundreds of thousands of boxes of beers to people across South Africa in the spirit of trying to bring craft beer appreciation to all South Africans.
Cool. So you're the giver. The giver of beer.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, let me finish my sentence. Yeah. It's catch me on the show to open a beer as soon as possible. So I'll let you get to it.
Funny you ask. Look at this box.
Look at this box you got there.
It's a black box.
What goodies do you have for us?
Well, usually I bring a monthly mix case, but I've got something, and would you believe it, I've got something better than a monthly mix case.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay, so
Just
what we've got is...
my voice here is better this side. There we go.
I can't even hear myself. We brought in 4 different beers from a brewery in Australia. The name is easy to remember. It's Australian Brewery.
That's very easy to remember, yeah.
They are canned beers, pale ales, IPAs, and lagers. We all know that can's the way of the future, and watch the space. As you know, you and I have been talking for a while. We've got some can plans coming along.
Can plans.
Cans are better for logistics, better for the environment, much better for freshness, better for costings. It's just a much better way of doing beer. It's like a mini keg.
Crack the first one open and let's get drinking. Let's get talking at the same time.
So what we've got is we've imported these 4 cans from Australia. That was a terrible accent. And we have...
I thought you had disappeared out the room and then someone had replaced you. But
So what we've got is we've got the Seis Hermanus Lager. Hermanus, I think. I don't know. That can't be right.
It can't be
Not
Hermanus,
They're
no.
just Bondi. And then we've got the New World Pilsner, which has apparently won some international. What's that big awards for the craft beers? The big beer awards. What's it? World Beer Awards something.
Yeah, it's the World
Like the yellow and black one. Anyway, so they've
World
won a
Beer
prize
Trophy,
there.
or I
Something
can't.
like that. Not the SNBT. The Australian Pale Ale, and we've got the All Star Session IPA, and these beers are coming exclusively to a monthly mix case
Wow.
near you this summer. Every month there'll be a drop of one of these beers.
Well, if that
Punt, hashtag
if
non
that
punt.
wasn't a punt or a plug, then I don't know what is.
Leagueofbeers.com
Yeah,
on Yappy Chef.
where do we go for this?
Okay,
so
let's
crack-
open the first one. So
Crack open. What should we have? The Saison or the Pilsner?
let's go in the order that we've done them in the mix case, right? So in the mix cases, the first one we've gone with, we've started this month with the New World Pilsner. They're highly decorated Pilsner. It's very cool, malty vibe going on. All four of these beers, I've been finding them to be very sessionable, very quaffable, kind of easy drinking beers.
Okay.
So
Well, I suppose that the climate in Australia is very similar to ours over here in South
exactly.
Africa. So
The big heavy guys are
these,
not the way to go.
I'm sure these will work here.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of why we've been speaking to Australia for a while, because they've got a similar climate and a similar beer drinking culture. They're
Cheers.
a few years ahead of us. Cheers, thanks for having me. A few years ahead of us on the craft beer scene. They're very into their pale ales, and they've got access to awesome hops from New Zealand. So it just seemed like the right
Yeah,
way to go.
they're quite close there to New Zealand, so they definitely have a nice selection. Let's give this a.
We should actually try one of these beers, because I see this one beer is green and gold. We could maybe have one of our beers, and we can see if it turns out as a draw.
We could do that for sure. This, I'm amazed. This has got a beautiful hop aroma,
Yeah, big time.
and this is a Pilsner. So I'm actually
Yeah.
floored that this is getting a lot of. It's got some nice, like, dank, funky kind of.
Yeah, that's the thing.
not
They're
overwhelming,
quite-
but it's.
that's it. Like their hop selections, I find are very bold, and they've got very nice, but it's very very subtle. So these are none of these beers whack you in the face. They're
The sad thing is that this could pass for a pale ale in South Africa, just from that hop aroma.
in fact, there's a very specific pale ale in a can that we can think of that this tastes a lot like.
Well, let's not jump ahead of the show of what we've got planned, but let me just.
And on
Oh,
that,
yeah.
is Scott Kelly listening? Back in the US of A?
I think he's in the States now. He's sleeping,
Yeah.
unless he's working to listen. He says he's a big fan,
Well,
so maybe
it's early morning. He might have cracked open a beer.
you never know. But this is incredibly smooth. If Rob, if you had to pour this beer and give it to me a blind tasting, I would never have said this is a Pilsner.
Go
This
on.
is almost like a very light pale ale. It's very
Yeah, it's got that kind of
moorish,
hoppy
very
pale ale vibe.
easy. Yeah.
Almost like a little bit like a Victory Pilsner, but a little bit more gentle.
So, okay, so
Let's not get too beer geeky. Let's
No, well,
keep the
we
viewers interested.
no, well, we get very beer geeky on the show, but if we do get too geeky and scientific, then we do kind of break it down.
So I think we're going to have to play some Dave Matthews Band on the show today, just because, I mean, if I'm on the show, I mean,
Well,
kind of would have to.
it's
I can
funny
give,
you
I can
should
give you some good
say
selections.
that.
Oh,
but,
really? Are you lined up and ready?
I might be lined up and ready.
Could I crash into you?
Yeah, no, we've got some. There's 3 songs here, as I can see.
Oh, look at you.
Lined
Hey?
up.
What a well-researched young man.
I am really wrong.
You won't believe it, but on the way here, and this is a non-punt for me, but I got a phone call from Jake Crystal Head Whedon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just ironically gave me a call with their very nice vodka that they've brought into the country via Dan Aykroyd.
Yes. So for those of you listening, Jake is my brother, and
Available exclusively on Yappy Chef.
they've just started bringing in Crystal Head vodka from Canada, and when
Must
we're,
have it. It's
when we're
delicious.
over there now, they actually met Dan Aykroyd and had lunch with him.
No,
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
that
They-
is insane.
Yeah, he came into the office and he sat down and he.
I'm
as he walked in, he
jealous.
was like,
Who are you going to call?
yeah. No, but apparently he's a really nice guy, down to earth.
Nice.
And yeah, he's a local Canadian Toronto dude. But yeah, they had a very nice lunch. So my brother's quite stoked about that. Okay, I'm gonna finish this New World Pilsner.
Don't you want to save it for now? We can go through all these when we get a chance.
Okay, I'll have a little sip because
No, I mean, it's all yours. I was going to tell you have to share it for Greg and Carl, but I'll have to get them an extra one. An extra 4.
well, if I did invite them. If they can't make it.
Well, not on the radio, no beers.
So, Rob, tell me a little bit more about why you wanted to get Australian brewery involved in the League of Beers? I mean, had you researched it? Had you looked into it? Had
Yeah.
it been something on the radar for a few years now, or what?
It's been on the radar for a while. So what I noticed is that people are loving the expansion of South African craft beer and trying lots of different South African craft beers. But I think a lot of the appreciation for craft beer comes from trying stuff from the rest of the world as well. So we've made it kind of a mandate that every mixed case needs to have an imported beer. And needs to have something that people cannot get their hands on anywhere else. So sometimes we brew those collaborative batches like you and I did back in the day, but the best way to do that is to bring something in from another country. And I was keen on, probably since 2015, I've been looking at different countries. So it was during the World Cup year, I started looking at what beers from rugby playing countries can we start bringing in, because we've brought in a lot of beers from the States, and we are bringing in more beers from the States early next year. But we thought, well, let's see what New Zealand and Australia have to offer. And so we just made contact and reached out to a bunch of brewers. And these guys were a cool bunch of guys. They sent samples straight away. I love the samples. And I thought, well, so this is from the actual batch we brought in, but they sent samples more than a year and a half ago. And I thought, well, this is great, high flavor sessionable beers, exactly the kind of style I enjoy. Let's bring it into South Africa.
I'm actually going to troll my Instagram quickly, because this does ring a bell in terms of beers. You know, I try and usually I forget, but sometimes I do actually remember which beers I've had before.
You've tried this beer
I
once
think
before.
I haven't had the Pilsner. I've had something else, the Pale Ale.
You've had the
There we
Pale
go.
Ale?
I think a friend bought that back from me. I think Wayne
I
bought
did,
that.
I did.
Did you bring that back?
Yeah, we had it at an SSBSS.
Well, I just gave a shout out to Wayne. So
Good old Wayne. He's the captain of the tasting league this month. Some more punting.
No, it's a different Wayne.
Oh, okay.
He is still a captain.
But the other two, the Seis Hermanos or Hermanos
There we
Lager,
go.
and okay, very
But it's
nice.
a tall, skinny can. That looks
Yeah,
like.
yeah, they used to be those kind of Red Bull style. And the All-Star Session IPA, these are the first. I had the first ones in the country last night, and you're about to be the second person in South Africa to try these beers.
Well, I feel quite honoured then.
Yes.
Um,
And your radio show gets to hear about them.
And yes.
Buy them through leagueofbeers.com and yuppychef.com.
I'm really trying to work on. Maybe this is. I say this jokingly, but maybe there is a space for this in the future. But I want all my listeners to be able to drink with me. I feel kind of like
Closer to them.
I'll feel closer to them, but I also think that there's only so much that I can describe and taste on the airways as to what the joy that I'm. Put it in my mouth. Calm down there.
Well, what we can do is for further shows, I'll send you the monthly mix case, and you guys can assess that, and then at least everyone can taste it at the same
I
time.
think we're onto something.
It could be like
there
a
for the
mass
future.
tasting.
There we go.
A debate of the mass tasting.
Easy. What? Okay, so what have you liked about this Australian brewing company besides the fact that they've got a can? So
Well, they're
they
very
seem
forward thinking, the fact that they're using the cans.
if they were able to send you cans and they've got quantity, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So they must be quite a big brewery. What would you say? Bigger than CBC?
Yeah, no, they definitely are. So they actually had a hotel, and they're based in Sydney, and they were recommended to me I've got a couple of friends in Sydney, and they recommended these guys. They are, to my knowledge, their scale is a fair bit larger. They're actually mostly in export. I think that's why they went with the whole Australian name. Mm-hmm. And they are, so they're exporting to various parts of Asia, and so it was quite easy to put the discussion together with them. A cool vibe, and also very forward thinking. They've got a bunch of adverts out, which we'll start sharing through our social media. Mm-hmm. Funny stuff, typical Aussie humor.
It's great, eh?
Yeah.
That ain't nice.
Bloody hell.
Let's,
That ain't a beer can.
Let's. Look,
Should we just do the whole show in bad Aussie accents?
I don't know. I want my ratings to go up, not down. Well, Robert, just open the other can there if you don't mind.
Well, you get this one open. What about a Kiwi one? Let's see. We go for the next one in the next place.
No.
Is the Australian Pale.
We need
always
people-
beat the Australians.
No, we need you to pronounce it.
So what's going to happen this coming Saturday when we play against our local side, the All Blacks,
Oh, yes.
the local Cape Town
The
side?
the Cape Town B team.
Yes, exactly. So that should be interesting. I've got tickets, and I'm nervous about going because I'm worried about the Cape Crusaders giving me a hard time. I mean, the Springboks are going to lose, and I'll be supporting them in green and gold. But then to take all that abuse from our local supporters is not fun.
The abuse is not something I'm worried about. It's the
sentiment.
the state of our rugby nation at the moment.
No, I think we're fine. Give it a year. We'll beat the All Blacks at home next year. You heard it here first.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. And if not, then Rob will send a free case to everyone who's listening.
We know what happened last time, so I made a prediction for the Rugby World Cup with that same photo that you used. And I predicted All Blacks first, Ireland second, Springboks third, right?
Okay.
But I said if I get any of that wrong, I'll run down Long Street in a League of Beers box. And All Blacks first, South Africa did come third, but Johnny Sexton got injured and Ireland dropped out pretty much of the World Cup, so Australia came second.
Mm-hmm.
So that's I spent October about a year or so ago, maybe more, running down what was it? Kloof Neck.
Kloof Neck.
All the way down Kloof Neck to Jason Bakery in nothing but a League of Beers box.
Did you stick to that? Was it just the League of Beers box?
You mean, was there anything underneath? Well, there was quite a package underneath, but I mean, I won't talk about anything else.
Dum-dum.
More than just a box of beers.
Yeah. Well, I won't get you to make any bets like that. Okay, let's sniff this pale ale. Okay, definitely got the same kind of character that we're getting on the Pilsner, but obviously a little bit more.
So just look at your hop content. They keep
Stickier.
letting you know about it. So in the first one, a hop I've never heard of before called Motueka, the famous Cascade and Riwaka, obviously New Zealand-based hops. In this one, you can spot it quite easily that there's Galaxy and Cascade because so the Cascade, I find the Galaxy spotting that kind of a grassiness coming through.
Yeah, it's definitely got a lot more bitterness.
Like
Finishing at the end is quite bitter.
That danky, grassy vibe. Not quite your fruity Cascade being prominent.
I'm just trying to look here at the IBUs. This Pilsner, it says it's 36 IBUs, whereas the Pale Ale, they say it's 26 IBUs. That's interesting, don't you think?
Very low.
Well, yeah, I know that
That's what
in order to be considered a Pilsner, you need to be over 29 or 30
I think
IBUs.
so, yeah.
Um,
But a pale ale can be
pale ale-
25.
Yeah, but it's just weird that they've actually made their Pilsner stronger than the Pale Ale. Anyway, it's interesting, but we actually probably should have started with the. Well, now we know in hindsight, but.
Yeah, all good.
So, Rob, tell me, besides these beers, what else have you been up to? I know you've been up to.
You see the beer country guys saying the pun count is on. Well, I mean, let's see how we can go. We've got a couple of punny guys here. You know, I used to be the national cheese salesman for a company a couple of years ago. So, like, you're not going to get more cheesy than this guy.
No, I
Hashtag dad jokes, here we come.
you are a new dad. We can talk about dad jokes.
I'm a proud new father. You'll see on my Instagram account, there's a picture of me lifting Grayson up in there last night. We got him in the pool, 7 months old, and he was swimming.
Was he happy?
Freaking stoked. Such a little champion, eh?
Is he-
Anyone out there who's like married and undecided about having kids, you've got to get one. They're really cool.
I'm not sure if that was directed at me.
Don't worry about, yeah. Lauren, I'm with you there.
But tell me about I want to know about your Yappy Chef store. What's the whole vibe with it?
Oh, yeah, no, thanks for asking. So,
It launched this Sunday, if I'm correct?
yeah, just this past Sunday, yeah, because it was the 1st of October. I know Sunday seems like a strange day to launch a retail outlet, but we had to open on the 1st. What it is it's a kind of a rethinking retail, right? So if you're in e-commerce, you're actually in retail, right? And if you're in retail, you need to start thinking. Well, we think you need to start thinking about things like omni-channel, like being available where your customer wants you, and also thinking about the last mile, getting to where it's convenient for your customer as opposed to where it's convenient for you. So it's very easy to start an e-commerce company. Some of us would know.
Yep.
It's very difficult
So
to make
easy.
an e-commerce company successful.
Yep.
But the most important thing is having a customer centricity. So about just over a year and a half ago, one of the founders of Yappy Chef came back and got more involved and started changing a lot of our focus from being what we do to think about the customer. And this is an example of that. And it was amazing seeing it unveiled. So we unveiled the store at Willowbridge on Sunday, and it was great to see people's interaction with the products and the goods because, like, I'm sure most people here have been onto Yappy Chef before, and it's sometimes as strongly visual as Yappy Chef is, it's quite difficult to see what those items really are. I mean, there's only so far your computer screen can take you. But when you see some of those items, those shiny kitchen goods, some of the best things in the world, some of the best kitchen items in the world right there in front of you, you can just see the way people interact with it. And the
It's
store...
an adult version of Toys R Us.
Yeah, it
You
is a
want
bit
to
like
can
that.
go in and you can feel and you can touch.
I mean, especially like we're here with craft beer, right? And craft beer is part of an offshoot of the slow food revolution, right?
Yeah.
And so this watching Jamie Oliver, watching MasterChef, the success of Yappy Chef, like it's all about the fact that there's much more appreciation for food. And the Biscuit Mill, all these artisanal markets, craft gin, all these things. It's a continuous wave of moving towards artisanal food appreciation, food and drink appreciation. And so, yeah, so this is why that is kind of a little toy shop for adults.
It's also, I just thought of it now. I mean, it's also a good way for the customer to actually go in and see, and this, I'm saying this in a good way, to see why an item is so expensive. You know, when you see this, what are those knives? Those Laguli knives, those French knives and cutlery sets. You think, jeepers, I'm not going to pay R1,000 for this. But when you actually go and see the product and you feel it, you can see that it's, it's not cheap plastic. It's actually a very nice metal with ivory and whatever. I'm just using a weird example. But
no, I think that's the perfect way of putting it. I mean, and also the other thing is that a lot of those items, this is not like a run-of-the-mill kitchen, a run-of-the-mill grater or run-of-the-mill knife, right? These are some of the best items, but they're not. It's not the cheap nonsense that you're going after. These are high-quality items, and a high-quality item, like the purchasing decision, is a lot more entailed. So when you're going there as a personal shopper, you need to get a bit of guidance and need to put a lot of thought into these type of things. So possibly people have bought them online, and Yuppiechef gives a lot of guidance online as to what's good about the items and the whole educational aspect, much like we've done at the League of Beers. But when you've got that human interaction, I mean, in fact, a lot of what we've always done with the Yuppiechef and League of Beers is trying to bring a human interaction to e-commerce, which is, in actual fact, it's very scalable, but it's not very human.
The one thing that you guys do well is just the channels that you use and customer service, which I thought is massive in any business.
It's been huge to
especially in the craft beer industry. We can segue into that next.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I won't punt our store too much, but one of those key aspects is that now we have the chance to actually speak to our customers, interact with them. In fact, the founder, Andrew Smith, is at the store all week this week, and he's mailed a bunch of our top customers and said he's there to meet and greet, because, I mean, what better way is there to interact with the customers than being there in our store? Willowbridge.
Will he pour us a coffee if we're there, or?
He will if you ask him. Yeah,
okay, well there you go. If you feel like a coffee.
any staff member at Yuppiechef.
Any reason why you guys open in Willowbridge? Is it just it's furthest away from you in terms of where you guys are located?
In my opinion, I think we've probably got about 10 locations throughout South Africa where Yuppiechef will do really well, because it's not mainstream. It's not mass market.
It's not the student market.
No, there's another very successful homeware brand in South Africa, and they've done very well for a more of a mass market approach, and good on them. I think we're cutting edge. We're at the top of the spectrum. This is not mess around. This is for people who are very into their cooking and they're making food, especially preparing and making food together.
La Crusade.
Exactly, yeah. Hey? KitchenAid, all these brands, the Nespresso machines.
Got some nice knives on there, I must admit.
Wüsthof knives. Troy, you will not believe how good these knives are.
No, I've invested in my last 2 years. I've probably invested in some really nice knives.
Well, I mean, you got married about 2 years ago, so you probably had a registry with the Yuppiechef.
We did. There we go.
Yeah.
Sure, we punting here, hey?
Oh, yeah. What do they used to call me? The shameless self-promotion.
Shameless self-promotion, Rob Haynes, yeah.
where was
I'm sure my check's in the mail, right?
Yeah. Well, I lost my train of thought. Where were we?
Talking about why you open in...
why we open in Willowbridge, thanks.
Willowbridge.
And so the other thing, so it's a lifestyle centre. It's not Tyger Valley, it's outside of Tyger Valley, and your customers go in there are customers who appreciate the good quality good, can spend on the good quality good, who appreciate the interaction around these kind of goods. And as I say, there's probably about 10 venues in South Africa where we are very strongly differentiated and targeted towards that kind of customer, giving them what they want. I don't think we'll ever open 100 stores, but you never know.
You never know. Aren't you close to the Little Big Beer Shop?
We are. You mean League of Beers offline?
Yeah.
Neil contacted me the other day. Actually, we need to pop in there. It's a cool little spot.
I'm sorry to say this, but I've never been. I used to visit.
Have you not ventured past the Boerewors?
I used to visit there once a month when I was working with Jack Black. But I just haven't, obviously...
You weren't fired from Jack Black like me.
No, I left on good terms. Well, you brought it up, but I mean, from what I understand, you weren't fired. You just weren't at work, or what? You just started League of Beers.
So that's the thing. So like when I was starting League of Beers, I was investigating and kind of getting to know people in the industry, and I already knew Ross from a couple of years back, and he said to me, "Stop this silly e-commerce thing. It's never going to work. Come work for me." And we weren't making any income. We hadn't launched yet, and so I did go and I did work for Ross. I did join him, and it was awesome. I had a great time. I'm sure you also had a great time working with Jack Black. Got to know Kevin from Darling quite well during that time. Got to know the Devil's Peak guys quite well, and got fairly entrenched in the industry because I got to know Rui and Brad from Man Union. Because, along with Jack Black and Union, these are the guys who kind of drove the craft beer wave in South Africa after breweries had existed
the new
for a while.
age
But
pioneers, you
they
could
were
say.
the pioneers, and so got to know them really well. I'm on good terms and friends with all these guys, even Ross. Of Jack Black, who fired me. But what happened was, kind of my role changed, and I kind of reignited League of Beers, and we launched in August 2012. And we really flew out the starting blocks because clearly e-commerce has been built up by people like Yappy Chef, and craft beer has been built up by people like Jack Black and Union. So it's kind of standing on the shoulders of giants. And we did very well in the first couple of months. As you can remember, Rhode Island Liquors, where we started, was just
I remember.
League of Beer Central with boxes filling the whole place. So
You had one staff member who was doing everything.
yeah, exactly. Box pack in Troy, and then what happened? We went from there to in that first December we were doing really really well. Get a lot of PR. Got picked up by 702, and I was dealing with customers the whole time. We were focused on helping the customer. We just had no systems to do that. So I was pretty much failing at my job.
You're looking for a little bit of a leg up.
Yeah,
Scale up.
And so anyway, one day on the morning of my brother's wedding, while I'm busy refining the speech, I get an email from Ross on the 1st of December, I think it was, saying, I think it's time for you to go. So I'm like, okay. So went back early December, finished up December, and then by 1 Jan I was out of there. And a few months later, we were approached by Yappy Chef, and by September 2013, we were live on Yappy Chef.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago, but it's...
I know, it is. It's a long time ago now. That's 4 years ago that Yappy Chef bought us, and 5 years ago that we started.
Sure.
Yeah.
How old does that make us?
Yeah.
That was rhetoric. Let's not answer that question. I think...
Should we get on to gin?
I think, well, we still got a few beers that we want to try.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you... Hey, this is your show. This is dedicated to you. Do you want to have a little music break? Do you want to have another beer?
How about we pop open a beer?
Let's pop open
while
a beer.
While we tasting that beer, we share some Dave Matthews Band with our audience.
Okay.
They can't quite get the beer, but I mean, Dave Matthews Band is kind of as good, if not better.
Okay, so before we play the music, what beer do you want to open there? What's the
I'm going to reverse the order. So the actual order that the customers are getting it through Yappy Chef and League of Beers is we're going to do the New World Pilsner followed by the Australian Pale Ale,
Sure.
which is my favorite. Then for December, we wanted to do a big hitter, so we're doing the All-Star Session IPA, and it's red.
Yes.
And then in January, we're going with the light Says Hermanus Lager, because a lot of people will probably be in Hermanus at that time of the year. But
This is true.
I think for our sakes, let's swap it around.
Is it really called?
Hermanos. I don't know what that pronunciation is supposed to be. But
Hermanos.
it looks like,
No.
I just read Hermanus.
It looks Spanish, Hermanos.
Yeah, it probably is. But yeah, so that's going to be in the January case, but we'll swap it around. So let's do this.
I think it's because it's got a crisp combination of citrusy American hops and maize to
Yeah.
create a light and refreshing body. So I think it's the maize that gives it the Mexican.
Amaze Balls beer. That probably is it. Yeah. Didn't think about that. Thanks, man.
So while we're drinking this and having a little chit chat, we can.
So you've impressed me with a bit of DMB, but I'm interested to hear what track you've gone for.
No, well, I've gone for a safe, good
One that everyone knows.
one that and then we can maybe.
If we could flip a bit of Drunken Soldier later on,
I
that would be pretty special.
I will play my favorite one later.
Ah, okay. So we do the safe option, which I know what it is, and then we'll go for your favorite, and then Drunken Soldier.
If you want, I've never heard of Drunken Soldier, but if you want
it's a
it,
real
we
goodie.
can play it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we will drink this beer and we will be with you in 5 minutes. And Robbie, you back with us?
Hey,
We've got a little bit of some background music there.
it's all nice. Says Hermanus. Enjoying it. I've got to learn how to pronounce this thing.
Well, we smashed some bread roll there, but
That was
this is
This is rare. I'm drinking beer in the middle of the day and eating bread. This is a rare occurrence for myself.
you just watch out you don't slip into the dad bod.
In the dad, hashtag beat the dad bar 2017.
But tell us, you put in this saison. I must admit, it's not really a
It's a
saison.
lager.
What? Why did I think saison?
It says Hermanus, maybe you thought says on.
You said says
says
Hermanos saison. That's what I thought. Okay, so it's actually a lager, 16 IBUs.
How many of the tasting league are listening? Hey guys, can you?
We've got a few. We've got Rolly. We've got Carl. We've got who else? Tandy maybe.
Matt, man. Troy is definitely listening.
No, I'm definitely listening.
Trevor, don't know.
So, Tasting League, in case the people listen on the show, are, I suppose, the League of Beers, or more importantly,
It's like the League of Beers community, I'd say.
the
the
Captain
influencers.
Planet's children. Didn't Captain Planet have children?
No, I'd say they're beer,
Earth,
beer
fire, wind.
influencers.
No, that's.
No, that's just all water, hops, malts, barley.
I'm kidding.
Yeast.
Getting my 80s jargon mixed up here.
No, the Captain Planet was that, but these are Captain Beer.
Okay, so these are guys who are pushing.
Water, hops, yeast, barley, with our powers combined.
Shame. Can you imagine the poor kid who comes in? Maize. Yeah, we don't want maize.
So the Tasting League is it was something that grew out of remember back in the day we used to go do those live tastings, and we just noticed the social media interaction was really huge, and we noticed through League of Beers we were doing a lot of informational kind of educational stuff. We thought there was definitely room for a group of people to communicate around the enjoyment of their beers each month, and so we started the Tasting League. Excuse me, that's a bit of beer coming up. Just by kind of interacting with the main
encouraged on the
influencers.
show.
Yeah, so the main guys who were driving that interaction of craft beer in South Africa, I mean, that community is way more powerful than what any company can ever be. And so the Tasting League has become bigger than our own social media, and these guys drive appreciation for the beers we're trying to do in South Africa. So they're a bunch of legends who actually make things happen.
I must say, it's a pity that the Twitter sphere is not as big as it is overseas in the States. But I mean, these guys are pretty much pushing that. They're pushing to get it bigger. They're making it bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, I struggle to get onto Twitter, but these oaks are.
No, they're awesome. They're driving the
Ruthless.
appreciation. Yeah. Now we've had some legendary captains come through the last couple of months. When did we start the Tasting League? I think it was April 2015. I think it's been going strong for a while now.
Well, it must be coming up to what you say
That
April.
next year would be its second birthday. Yeah,
Well, we need to have a big party then, Rob,
I think so. Yeah.
at your place.
So I think it kind of got going with Greg and Carl of Beer Country, were the first kind of guys. And
Great guys.
And then Wayne
Great
Reeves
guys.
came involved, got things moving, and we had James Williams for a while before he had a bit of a fight with somebody.
Yeah, a little bit of
James has
meltdown.
been messaging me here while he's listening. So how's it, James? But we had a bunch of guys. I don't know if I can mention all of them, but a couple of legends who moved this thing forward, kind of just driving things from a community, which is the way the world is going.
Yeah, we want to include everyone and make sure that
It's just a
people
general
are
world
driving
democracy.
the craft beer industry. What do you think of this beer?
Nice, easy, sessionable, very light, nothing massive on the nose.
I will admit it's not my favorite of the four.
Yeah. It's like their special edition, but
Simply because it's
simply the best.
a lager, and it's
Lagers are boring.
we've got so many lagers in the country, and SAB makes some great lagers. So, but it's still nice to try the beers. Do you want to give us your post game analysis on the song that I selected? Jeepers, that was a
So Cape Town wind, as usual.
Cape Town
Smashing
door slamming. That
doors.
was massive. What do you think of that song?
It was a very good, safe option. Crash Into Me. I knew that was what you were going to play.
Yeah.
Definitely kind of the most well-known Dave Matthews Band song. Not my favorite, but definitely a good one to ease the crowd in before we get into the big stuff.
Ah, the big stuff.
I was at in 2012.
You went to what is concerts? I was just going to say.
I went to the States in 2012 to watch Dave Matthews Band and drink craft beer, which was pretty awesome. Got a massive education
Absolutely
of craft
nothing
beer.
wrong with that.
I even had a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale at my first DMB concert, and I cried. It
Big,
was like all my
chunky
favorite
man
things.
tears.
Big chunky man tears. Where was I going with that?
Snot as well. Just
No,
everywhere.
there was a point to that. So, at the one concert, I met two of the band members before, and I said, listen, you guys got to play along the Watchtower. And they said, it's not happening because we had a new set list for the new album. And I said, like, guys, I've come all the way from Africa, the motherland, and you got to give me a bit of All on the Watchtower. I mean, it's their great concert song. And they said no blatantly. Said Dave will never go for it. Halfway through the show, Dave shouts out, and this one goes out to our friend from far, far away. And All on the Watchtower kicks off. One of the great moments of my life.
Oh, that's a very special moment. Well done. I'm glad you had a good moment there.
Thanks.
I'm glad. Rob, I feel like we should crack open the next one to kind of.
Do you not want to do a Ginny interlude and then get on to the next beer?
Let's save that as the crescendo, as
So, folks, there's gin, Sugarbird gin coming your way.
There
on
is gin.
thunderfun.com.
It's a little sneak preview. Let's crack open that IPA. Oh, and I myself have some beers, but let's. I think we've started something. Let's finish
The last of the Aussie beers.
Let's finish the Aussie beer. I love the
Aussie.
cans, by the way, from the Australian cans.
Do you think I have nice cans?
I don't think you have nice cans. I think the Australian Brewery Company have nice cans. Have you noticed an uptake in good designs in South Africa?
What do you mean, like label design?
Label
Like that?
designs.
Well, I mean, we've had this conversation lots of times. I mean, that's kind of one of the advantages the Western Cape brewers had over other parts of the country. We're such an art-driven area and so much design that it's always given our labels a bit of a heads up that the guys there's a design thinking that's used. You can see a lot of the gin labels that have come through. Most of them have got great design. I think design is massive. So much of people's purchase is done visually. Like you've got to have the product to back it up. But if things don't look right, people won't believe that they won't take you seriously as a company. So, and what I quite like about the cans that are coming through is that it's given, it's more like it's a bigger palette, like it's a bigger area to display the visual qualities and to kind of get the message across of what the brand might be
Sure.
about.
The canvas is a lot bigger.
Canvas.
And also, it stands out when you put it side by side to a bottle.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, with that bottle, you've just got all that brown space.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, design is a huge factor. I mean, but you definitely see that the rest of the country, from a craft beer point of view, the guys are realizing the value of design, and there's some great designs coming out there. I mean, Dan, who was part of League of Beers originally, was involved in the Mad Giant project.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see it's very craft beer, but it's definitely it's got a much more of a design edge to it in the Mad Giant. What they've done. I mean, I don't know if you've been to the brewery, but there literally is a giant inside the brewery, and it's not Eben because Eben's tiny, but there's which is the irony of the name. But there is an actual giant behind the bar. It's very cool.
It's one of my what do you call not a beer mecca, but it's one of my journeys that I want to take in South Africa is to Mad Giant.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because
it's a cool area.
There's some cool things happening down there. I say down there. There's some cool things happening up there in Joburg.
I always do that. Yeah.
Always do this.
Get into trouble when
I got in trouble in Standard 3.
Really?
In an oral when I stood in the class and said I went up to Joburg, and the teacher corrected me and said no, you went northwards to Joburg.
Oh yes, okay. What school was that?
It was Bosch, believe it or not.
I thought so. You went to Bosch originally.
Yeah, you and I went to Bosch.
Then you upgraded to Boshops.
Bishop, well, of course. I don't speak like this. You were a Bosch boy.
Yeah, we didn't have the money to upgrade.
Shame, man.
Push all the way through.
No wonder. You can tell. You can tell with
It's got that rough edge.
the Scotty, the roughness that comes through.
Exactly.
Enough chit chat. What do you think of the beer? Very sessionable.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think if you're expecting an in-your-face Lagunitas Torpedo style IPA, you're not going to get it. If you're expecting a nice hop aroma coming from the Amarillo, Centennial, Mosaic, and Chinook, I think you're going to get that. It's got it's like, I wouldn't say floral, but there's a nice broad aroma of different citrusy, piney type of flavors coming through, or aromas, which I really like. The beer, very sessionable. Despite the amber color, it's not full-bodied, more like an amber beer. It really is. It's got the mouthfeel of a pale ale. And it's definitely, I'd call it a summer IPA.
You know what you should do? We should sell 6-packs of this online. Because I think this is a 6-pack beer.
Yeah,
I would buy 6 of these.
I would drink. Yeah, this is actually the beer I would drink at the Braai, all Braai.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
It's got flavor to keep
You're
you
not
interested,
going to
but
get.
it's not going to knock
You're not
you
going to
over.
get to 2 and be like, oh, I'm exhausted. Whereas,
I mean, even that. It's got a 45 IBUs, international butchering units, for all my fellow beer nerds out there. But interestingly, it's 4.2% ABV, which previously wasn't an IPA, but now, as far as I know, not the SSBSS. What's that beer judging thing you've got?
BJCP.
The BJCP. The other.
Aren't you a beer judge?
I am, as yourself. Aside from the SSBSS, the next most important beer judging authority in the world, the
Sure, they
BJCP,
are ruthless. Those
have
guys.
allowed for a sessionable IPA, which this is at 4.2%.
What do you? Not to get sidetracked here, but what do you think the importance is of having a beer club or an online?
Like an online craft beer store that delivers beer to your house every month.
That's that as well. I mean, what is the importance of that? No, but having like a WhatsApp community or a bunch of friends who who love beer. I mean,
Well, that's the
I
kind
don't
of what
need
the
to-
tasting league was. Is that
I don't need
beer's
to
a
explain
social
it to
thing.
you. I mean, it's just so it's,
No, I mean-
it's been massive in terms of
Beer's a social thing. It's all
having
about
us
the club.
connected to
Yeah.
the guys like JC, Lucy,
That was the
Greg
irony.
Casey from Banana Jam.
Wow, celebs left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what myself, what Yabashiv and League of Beers had in common, because the Yabashiv purpose was to bring people together around making and enjoying food. Excuse me, guys. What's that word? Creative license. If I got the wording wrong. But League of Beers is always about bringing people together around craft beer. Like, I've always had a passion for these type of products that can bring people together, which is kind of why I'm delving into the gin now, just because these type of crafted products that people put a lot of creativity and effort into, they make for talking points. And when something is that good, it's easier to enjoy it with people. So yeah, it's all about group enjoyment, like our little SSBSS. It's all about beer's not drunk best alone. It's drunk
Just
best
explain
with
to the
friends.
people what SSBS is.
What did James say? The best beers are drunk with friends or something. SSBSS is what's it? The Southern Suburbs Beer Snobs Society.
That
I
is
think
correct.
that's what we call ourselves.
I don't know who. I think probably Greg or Lucy came up with
It is
that.
the pinnacle of beer nerddom.
Yeah. If you, yeah, no, it's we get to talk about a lot on that behind closed doors, which is good.
Yeah.
Robbie H, I'd like to thank you for bringing these Australian pale ales to me. You know what? If I had to vote for my favorite beer, I'm a big Pilsner fan.
I
So
was going to say you
that's
could be. You reacted best to the Pilsner.
so I've always liked Pilsner. I'm definitely if I'm going to choose a lager style beer, I'm going to go for a Pilsner. And yeah, I'd say that this is probably falls within the top 5 of my favorite Pilsners in the world.
Oh wow, that's
So I would say that Pilsner stood out for me. The Pale Ale was good. The IPA was good.
I actually like the IPA as a pale ale. That's kind of how I would drink
That's
it.
yeah,
hits
exactly.
the nail on the head
The
with a
Pale
great
Ale,
ale.
the IPA would have had exactly
In
as a
fact, their Pilsner and their IPA are kind of more like pale ales.
yeah. So these will be available in the League of Beers in the next few months, starting November.
This month.
This month.
October, the Pilsner's in the October mix case. Get yours now from leagueofbeers.com and yabashiv.com.
Okay, well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. So you can get these beers from League of Beers,
Okay.
and I saw them being delivered the other day. You've got a lot, which is nice.
Yes.
But I'm looking forward to trying some more.
Nice.
Right, I think
gin
it's
time.
it's almost
time.
no.
Gin time.
We've got some other beers that I want to try, but
Underfund.com,
let's
sugar beer.
let's
Check it
play my second song.
Okay. I'm interested to see what you came up with.
This is it's a bit of a slow one.
Okay.
But
Are you going to romance me, Troy?
This wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
But let's play this one, and I think we can take a quick. This will be 5 minutes, and then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you after 1 o'clock, and we will try some more beers. We'll see you shortly. Cheers, cheers. Rob, you like that song, huh? It's my favorite song.
Good work.
I like songs when they come on. You hear them in the original format, and they come on like this in a live format or live recording, and unplugged, anything. Just gives me goosebumps. Anyway, okay.
Right.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday. It's 1 o'clock. You're listening to hashtag Beer Time, the show where we talk about all things beer. We've just finished 4 Australian beers from, believe it or not, a brewery called Australian Brewery. And we are on to some beers that I brought back
Nice.
from my visits, my sojourns abroad in the States. And we have a beer which, when I brought out of my little sneaky little cooler bag, Rob got very excited. It is called Toast, American Pale Ale brewed with bread. I'm just going to read the side of the can here. And this is a great initiative. I love it. 1/3 of all bread in the US is wasted. Our award-winning beer is brewed using unsold loaves from bakeries with a slice of fresh surplus bread in each can, and all profits poured into the charity feedback to end food waste. Toast is the best thing since, well, you know.
Beer with a purpose.
I feel like I was going to talk about this, but Rob, I feel like you know a bit. Do you want to tell us a bit more about this?
Drum roll. Toast Ale, which originally started in the UK, has moved into the US.
Oh, it's shaking up.
Is on its way to South Africa.
Oh la la.
So a couple of local guys got in contact with me a little while ago, and they wanted to bring Toast Ale to South Africa. So you'll actually see if you go to the Toast Ale website, there's already a South African section, and these guys, the plan is to launch Toast Ale, actually as a multi-way partnership. So they've involved Yappie Chef and League of Beers. So we're going to launch them. There's a little spoiler alert. You'll have a Toast Ale Pale Ale. Will be in your November monthly mix case.
Oh wow.
It's going to be brewed by none other.
This just interrupting you. This is I didn't even know this. I just brought this back from the States. It's just coincidental.
Complete coincidence. That's why when I had a bit of a minor meltdown when I saw it, because I'm so excited about this. So
It's meant to be, Rob.
as a buyer of beer, a lot of new beer brands come across my plate, and they generally, it's more of the same. You know, it gets a little bit boring. It doesn't stand out. So when the idea of a beer with a story and a beer with a purpose came across my plate, I was very excited. And I thought, well, actually, I would like to help these guys get going and bring this beer into this country. So they're going to brew it in South Africa, brewed with none other than Mr. J.C. Stain of Devil's Peak Brewing Company.
I know that guy.
Yeah, you know him. The very handsome bald man. And it's going to be done at
The Lex Luthor.
the Lex Luthor of craft beer, but the
Yes.
good one. And it's going to be brewed at the new Devil's Peak Brewery on their test batch system. So,
Awesome.
So I don't know if I'm giving away Devil's Peak's secrets, but you know they do these seasonal batches of unusual canned beer.
Rob, it's okay. It's just you and I on the radio.
Nobody's listening.
No one's listening. It's just you and I.
So Troy, don't tell anyone. Don't
Yeah.
tell anyone. But so there'll be the Devil's Peak beer for November is going to be the Toast Ale. It's going to be the League of Beers mixed case. They've also partnered up with Need Bakery. So it's going to be available in all the Need bakeries from November, December. And Norman Goodfellows will be distributing it as well. So
This is awesome.
as of this summer, Toast Ale, beer with a story and beer with a purpose, of which Jamie Oliver is also part of it, is going to be launching on our shores. And I think they make some great beers. Very often quite hop forward. They're not actually as bready as you'd expect. But it's a very clever idea to use bread in the malt bill because
No, I'm going to stop you right there. And I'm just going to say this is an amazing idea. It's an amazing concept. You know, I'm always trying to think about new ways about how brands can implement themselves into the market or just
Innovate.
pierce into the market. Because, like you said, we get into a point now where there's just too many. And
A lot of sameness.
what I love about these guys is that it's not just a clever thing like, oh, let's just use bread in our beer, which is, on one level quite clever and obvious because they're the same, made from the same ingredients. But it's also a charity and a good cause. They're saying that, this is only used, the bread being used is only bread that is potentially being wasted. So
wastage is a big
you're
problem.
tying yourself into this massive issue that we have in the world, which I think is, it's also been quite close to my heart, this whole thing that we just waste so much food and this massive consumerism. So I'm absolutely blown away by this initiative and this brewery. It almost takes away. The story is almost stronger than the beer, because I was going to say, like, you can taste the beer, but just the initiative and just the idea of this thing is just it's a great thing.
I like the ingredients that they've done with Citra and Cascade.
I will say I am picking a bit of a sour note on the nose, but
Apparently that's purposeful, because I've had reviews from people who've had Toast Ale, and there's this kind of this tart flavour that comes through. Something to do with the bread and the mash gives a bit of a tartness. I'm not the one who's going to be brewing this myself. With JC, and I think also what they often use rye bread, and that gives that kind of that tarty flavour.
well, look, I think if the fact that you're saying it's going to be like a worldwide initiative, beer needs getting involved, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's
and everyone needs good beer.
Yes. Well, I'm not going to argue with you there. You make a good point. Okay, so we're going to expect this in the November case. Okay, that's very. It's a nice coincidence. There.
And yeah, as I say, part of the whole that Devil's Peaks campaign of doing unusual beers. So I think it's quite cool. It's a nice little tie-in between Need, Devil's Peak, Yappie Chef, League of Beers, and Norman Goodfellows.
I don't know if you heard our show
boost the
last
Toast
week, but
guys.
it was basically the Devil's Peak show. We were just saying these guys are coming up with all these crazy ideas, great ideas, pioneering. This is just another example that they
Yeah.
experimenting, playing with stuff.
It was quite cool because so I did the introduction, and when we met with Russell, Russell's I enjoy him. He's a hard negotiator, and it was quite. He's very to the point.
One of the partners at Devil's Peak.
Of Devil's Peak, yeah, Russell Boltman, not Michael Bolton, and
Wonder if they're related.
it could be. I mean, you know, when a man loves a beer. And we were busy chatting, and he was interested because the Toast guys have got the guys who bring in Toast have got a very good marketing and entrepreneurship background, but he pretty much cut them off with their pitch and said, listen, we're not interested in how you're going to help us grow our brand. We're doing that. What's interesting to us is the fact that you're doing something
Whammy.
more. Yeah, exactly. You're doing something more than just selling. You're doing something more than just marketing. You're doing something with a purpose. And excuse me, a bit more beer burp. The fact that you're giving back to a charity, the fact that you're using dealing with food wastage, the fact that you've got a purpose is, I think, what spoke to them. So this is why the project is moving forward with their support.
Well, good for them. I like it when good things happen to good people.
I love it when a plan comes together.
I love it when a plan comes together. Dun, dun, dun. Oops. Okay.
Shut up, fool.
It just shows you can
Well,
just come up with different
I'll
ideas.
say something interesting about Toast Ale.
Okay. Oh, I was going to segue, but you
I've
do
got
what
a
you
nice
need to.
little segue for you here. So besides the fact that it's beer with a purpose and a story, and it's very interesting, and it's an international trend in beer of a very unusual different beer, they also launched their company via crowdfunding. And you, my friend, know a little bit about crowdfunding because there's a local crowdfunding company called Thunderfund, almost like the Kickstarter of South Africa. And for those
I
of
can
you-
see how you're warming up to.
Oh, yeah.
You're taking this level up every time, and we're just gonna.
It's about building
drop,
relevance.
We're
It's
just
the-
gonna drop the mic. You can't,
relevant-
please don't drop this mic, but you're.
I'll drop the one next door.
Oh.
I'll drop the proverbial mic, like
please.
Obama. So, so crowdfunding, for those who don't know, it's a way of getting projects up and running through use of the community. Remember I spoke about with the Tasting League, community, crowd, how important
do
it is?
remember.
I think this is a very important thing. That's like a good comedian, like seed a topic early on and kind of come back to it. So crowd and community is huge.
Come back to it, yeah.
That whole democratization of the world is crowd-driven, people-driven, driven by the masses. It's not about being driven by companies or governments or corporations. It's about the people. There's much more power in groups of people.
Sure.
And what's happened overseas with Kickstarter, Indiegogo, various companies like that, is businesses have launched. And massive campaigns have happened, and big impact has been made through the will of the people, right? Which is it's a great way to operate because it's almost like a market test before you want to do something. If the crowd doesn't back you, then nobody's going to back you, so don't even move forward. And so I put an article on Medium the other day, which was picked up by Startup Grind US. I was stoked about that. But anyway, so I just had a look into crowdfunding.
You're
because
now an author, huh?
Sorry?
You're now a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just a professional alcoholic. And the one thing is that South Africans don't know crowdfunding. And so we try to demystify it a bit because there's three types of crowdfunding. The one type that you know quite well is the help Jimmy have an operation or help fix the houses from the flood or help build a new hospital, right? A charity-based crowdfunding.
Sure.
A next type of crowdfunding, which we'll also all know on the show, is equity-based crowdfunding, such as Equity for Punks, where you actually buy shares in a company. And that was pioneered by Brewdog, but other companies have done it. It's a lot more complicated. It's a bit like an IPO, initial public offering, so there's legalities to it, right?
I can imagine.
The most popular type of crowdfunding is rewards-based crowdfunding. And what rewards-based crowdfunding is like, it's an early offer. It's like a market test. So it's a pre-sale. So you've got this project, this concept, this idea, this business, this cause that you want to launch. And the only way you're going to get it off the ground is by getting the community to back it. So people came up with this cool cooler that plays music and the super cool, I can't remember what the full name was. And this guy wanted to make this really cool cooler box, but he couldn't afford to have it made because the minimums were huge, right?
Yeah.
So he did a crowdfunding campaign, pre-sold the cooler box, pre-sold, I don't know, 100,000 or something. So then with 100,000 orders and cash in the bank, he could then, go and produce this product.
Patent it and do this whole thing.
And sell it to people,
Yeah.
and because people pre-sold it. So it's
And
the-
you'd already had those sales, exactly.
Exactly. So it's a pre-sale, so your cash flow is managed, which is a massive problem with a lot of business.
Yeah.
Plus, you've done a market test. You've seen if people actually want your product before you even go and make
It's
it.
brilliant.
So I think it's an amazing tool which I encourage all entrepreneurs to consider as a way of funding. And it's also very important to put your money where your mouth is, right? So I'm a big believer in crowdfunding, and I thought, well, I can't go preaching about crowdfunding and telling anyone about crowdfunding if I don't give it a try myself. So a little while ago, part of my mission with League of Beers was to get South African beer overseas.
Yeah.
Right. And I had chats with a lot of big brewers, and we were moving quite far forward with it, and we potentially had investment. But then a massive issue dawned on us is that beer logistically is a terrible thing to work with. If anybody knows that beer is difficult to work with logistically, it's me, right? It's just League of Beers it's been a mission to make League of Beers work because of the logistics of the beer. The other problem is that our great local beers, which are of a world-class standard, are not differentiated on a shelf in Germany because the malt comes from Germany, or in Belgium the yeast comes from Belgium, or in America the hops come from the States.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with just sending our beers overseas. Not to say it can't be done, and it's been done because our beers are world-class. There's a challenge there. So then I started looking into what is truly South African, and Fynbos is something that's only grown in South Africa, and gins are being made with Fynbos, and we're making some great gins in South Africa. So it became my new mission in life to take great South African produce in the form of gin overseas. So we created first a gin called Geneva Montaigne, and we followed that up with something called Sugarbird Fynbos gin. And this Sugarbird Fynbos gin, the goal is to get it into China, into the UK, into the States, and we're quite far down that path. So we've also listed with Norman Goodfellows, we're on a live campaign with Yappy Chef. But with all these big plans and goals of wanting to take thousands of bottles of gin to China, you can't do it without the bucks, right? So we thought, that's the one thing, you need the cash to make it work. The other thing is there's a lot of gins out there, so what's so special about another gin?
Exactly.
Right? So we thought, well, if we crowdfund it, we can make it at a large distillery with a craft recipe and a Fynbos recipe, but we can make it a large distillery at a better price.
Exactly.
So we thought, why don't we try and make a good gin, just a good gin, at a large distillery at a price that's accessible to more people, so more people can actually try it.
Yeah.
So we launched the Sugarbird Fynbos gin. The starting price is $2.99. It's available on Yappy Chef. And we did a Thunder Fund campaign. We're actually 1/3 into our Thunder Fund campaign. In fact, I'd like to invite you, if you go onto Quicket, there are tickets to our launch party tomorrow night on the top of the Media 24 building. So go have a look on Quicket. You can get it there. Or if you go to thunderfund.com, you can find the tickets there.
I think you just invited me.
Troy, I'd like to invite you and a plus one, hopefully Lauren, not just some random, and to come and join us at our launch party tomorrow
No, I
night.
have to.
Yeah, Lauren, I'm there for you. You'll have babies and come to our party. So Lauren being Troy's wife. And so, yeah, we're having this launch party, which was partly because of the crowdfunding campaign. Because the crowdfunding campaign has gone well, we've raised just under 250,000 Rand in 15 days. And we've got another 30 days to go, roughly. And because the campaign is going well...
That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. So now I'm planning a trip to China out of those proceeds. And we thought we can't just
For
spend...
holiday.
No, to get the gin there.
Little holiday.
And we're going to be in Macro, Norman Goodfellows. We're busy selling through Yappy Chef, but the other thing is with this, and this is a supported by Yappy Chef initiative, because Yappy Chef is behind the idea of getting great South African produce outside as opposed to always just bringing stuff into the country for South Africans.
Yeah.
Phew, I'm going fast.
No, but it's great. This is
So we did we went to the crowdfunding campaign, and as I said to you at the break, it's been a lot of hard work because people don't know crowdfunding in South Africa. People don't know that you got to back it.
Okay,
So
but this is what I want to ask you. Why do people not know about it, and why it's my question? My question was a very simple question: is the crowdfunding being underutilized in South Africa? Which I'm going to say
big time.
So can you elaborate on that? So.
Yeah, well, it's unknown. So what you find is when you speak to a lot of entrepreneurs, they don't want to give it a go because it seems like they're begging because they think it's charity-based crowdfunding.
Yeah.
There's the technicalities of it. People thinking it's equity-based crowdfunding. A lot of people don't realize that it's a pre-sale and it's a market test. In fact, General Electric have had multiple campaigns on Kickstarter, right? And the reason they do this is because to get the community involved in developing the products and to get the community to say to them whether they want this product or not. So it's not a charity exercise. It's not a please help us exercise. It's a we've got something good for you. We've got just good gin, but somebody else could have something else. And it's just a way of getting your product out there. And I think awareness and education, much like with craft beer, is a massive factor. So I'm actually working closely with the Thunder Fund guys to try and build
So Thunder Fund is the local South African crowdsourcing. They're the biggest crowdfunding.
Yeah, or company, yeah.
I know that we tried to
had a campaign
for
with-
Brew in the Republic. We tried to get some cash on there.
It's a lot of hard work.
It's a lot of hard
People
work.
don't know it. Like, so you've got to deal with it's a big education and demystifying process because people don't know what it is. So you have to. The awareness is lacking. People don't even know what crowdfunding is or that it exists. And then those who know about it have got the wrong perceptions of it. So I find it a personal mission to break that down because so I'm a big believer in entrepreneurship as a vehicle for positive change for both yourself and your communities. And crowdfunding is like the best arsenal weapon in the arsenal of an entrepreneur I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's you look at it and you think, why the heck has this not been used as much as as Cape Town should be using it? Because it's
As South Africa, as the world.
well, yeah. I mean, Cape Town's just for me, it's just the entrepreneurial city in Cape Town. You can
yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I definitely think that we're going to start seeing a lot more crowdfunding options popping up left, right, and center, and not just ones that are charity based, but also ones that are like exciting and good products, and as you
Yeah.
said, like Sugarbird.
So there will be a lot more. You'll see the charity-based crowdfunding exists in South Africa and is kind of known. The equity-based crowdfunding is growing. But if you look at the world trends, reward-based crowdfunding, it's a much more straightforward. It's just basic business.
So what's one? Give me an example of a reward trend or a reward option.
So music artists do a lot. So the most successful
One from you.
Oh, one of ours. So we've got a mix of different rewards. So one is, if you buy at a retailer, Sugarbird Gin, it's $2.99. If you buy it on Thunderfund,
Yep.
it's $2.70.
Okay.
If you use one of the codes that our influencers have, it'll cost you $2.39. So $2.39 for a bottle of gin, that's a pretty damn good price. I mean,
pretty good, yeah.
That's it's a great gin that you'd pay for. You pay kind of mainstream prices.
From what I know, some of the local craft gins are around 400 now.
Yeah, 400-500 often. Most of the good ones are around that price point. So this is how the campaign has helped us to get to the better price point.
Yeah.
Just by working at scale.
Yeah.
Another reward is we sell this with Riedel glass or with glassware, or for gin drinking glassware, or there's one that comes with Bark and Quinn tonic. They're a great bunch of people.
I saw something right at the bottom. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah. Now I'm getting there. Of course. So there's also a grand gin tour, and we're launching special release bottles. But the big one is that you can have a personally delivered bottle of Sugarbird gin delivered to you by either Ryan Gosling or Taylor Swift. That reward's quite a pricey one at $900,000 because we'd basically have to pay all that money to Ryan or Taylor Swift to get them to deliver the bottle. There's only one of those available.
But what a good marketing.
Yeah, well,
Well,
what could you say? So
Right.
it's
If I have a spare
900,000. So I've
lying
got a couple
around.
of wealthy friends. One of them who recently just sold a business for 1.3 billion or something. What did Get Smarter sell for? And they made a joke in one of our meetings the other day. This group that I meet with, a bunch of successful entrepreneurs, and then me. On we meet on a monthly basis, and the guys made a joke. Why don't we chip together and pay for that reward? Which would be a bit of a challenge because then I'd have to follow up on it.
Then you would have to follow up on the legal sense.
Yeah.
Well, we've spoken so much about it, Rob. I think we should maybe try a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Let me pour you some Sugarbird.
Should we?
So interestingly enough, we our first batch of Sugarbird we made in a very small distillery. I thought it was quite good, but a lot of the malt flavors were coming through from the base
I'm
spirit.
actually going to wash it out with this.
And so what we did is we've distilled further batches of Sugarbird based on the feedback we had from the first batch, and some of that was very positive, some of it wasn't so positive. And so in the essence of any good craft distiller or brewer, we try to make each batch better and better. So we'll find out in a second if this is batch 1 or batch 2. But all our backers will be getting batch 2 and 3, and we're hoping to get better with every batch.
You're going to upscale, look for bigger places, and then one day you're going to buy your own distillery.
Hopefully
Have
not.
you,
I'd like to
you
focus-
tried your hand at distilling?
Yeah, I'd say I'm better at brewing. There's better people at distilling than me.
Is there a certain art to it similar to craft beer?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Home brewing?
Yeah, very similar. Well, I mean, with this, we brew beer first, and we use the beer spirits to make it. But yeah, distilling is a definite art. Like, it's the amount of botanicals you use, the time of the botanicals, and then the type of botanicals you use and the flavor notes you're putting through. Also, you'll find this one, you could call it quite unrefined because we went a bit overboard with the botanicals. So it's got a punch of rose geranium. So the further batches, we've pulled it back to make it a lot more subtle. Where was I? Losing my train of thought. It's all this drinking beer and gin.
You get used to it.
Yeah, toughen up. But yeah, it's definitely an art form. As I say, we've softened it on further batches because this one, I found it to be very strong. We wanted to... the reality is...
I don't know if it's just me, like a strawberry syrup. It's got a
Okay.
bit of a sweetness.
Definite sweetness. So the sweetness is coming from the honey bush.
Yeah.
The grapefruit. So if you have it with tonic, you'll pick up a lot of grapefruit. But as it is right now, the rose geranium is very strong, almost too strong, because we've got our Jennifer Montaigne, and that is a rose geranium-driven gin. And we didn't want it to be. We wanted there to be a family vibe to it. We don't want it to be exactly the same.
Do you know what? I don't know if this is a good thing or if I'm marketing your brand correctly, but when you smell beer, you're meant to get transformed or transported back to a younger day when you remembered smells and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to do that with this gin, and I'm picking up. Do you remember going to Spur and getting when you didn't want to be such a fat bastard to get a chocolate milkshake, you got a fruit shake,
Okay.
a fruit cocktail shake.
Yeah, quite fruity.
So they got some of the ice cream and they mixed it with some of the fruit punch.
Okay.
I'm getting that fruit punch in this.
Yeah, no, there's, as I say, too much flavor.
So I'm thinking Spur, but in a good way. I say that in a very good way.
Thanks. I'll take that as feedback for further improvements, eh?
It's transported me to my youth. Cool, Robbie. Well, I must say, well done. I'm going to have a little sip quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
How are you meant to drink gin?
So a lot of I'm always big on sipping spirits. So when I was at Cabron, your restaurant, a little while ago, and I spotted the Crystal Head. See, I don't just punt my own stuff.
There you go.
The Crystal Head available on yappiechef.com.
The show is sponsored by Yappy Chef.
But so when trying the Crystal Head vodka, I noticed that it doesn't just look freaking kick ass. It actually, when you taste it neat by itself, it's really good. And that's really the mark of a good spirit, is can you drink it neat. And although the Sugarbird, we try and make it a gin that you can drink neat, it's best drunk with tonic. So you find with a lot of gin and tonics, there's all kinds of fancy ways of mixing them together and doing all kinds of interesting ways of having them. For me, it's just about enjoying it, right? We're not trying to be the most pretentious or most fancy. It's just chuck a bit of gin with a bit of tonic, have some ice. You don't need a lot of fruit because the fruity flavors are coming through as it is.
I was just about to say that.
Just
This
have
is
it.
actually, you don't need the crushed peppercorns. You don't need the cucumber or
It's all there, yeah.
the leaf of a goat.
No,
I
exactly.
don't know what that means, but
Yeah. It's the thing that hides its testicles. But you don't need that.
no.
No horny goats.
God, I should hope not.
Yeah, but goats do roam. The thing is, it's just, we say just good gin because it's just enjoy it. Don't overcomplicate your life. Just have a good gin tea.
Rob, I know that I need to be wary of the time because
Yeah, we need to get moving soon.
you need to get moving soon. Well, I suppose we both need to get moving
I'm
soon.
about
But,
to go meet with the founder of Thunder Fund.
okay, and
that,
you're going to have the product on your breath, which is a sign of a good supported.
So you've got Wolfgang coming next week, and I know he's famous for sampling this product all day long.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, so he's been overseas for the last 4 weeks, so it'll be good to see him. Yeah, it's actually for the first time. I think I said it to someone off air last week, but for the first time, Hashtag Beer Time has actually got a schedule of people lined up on the show, which is
Convinced me
great.
to be on the show even.
Say again?
You managed to convince me to join you on the show as well.
There you go, exactly. But Robbie, what's next for you? It doesn't have to be League of Beers, Yappy Chef, but is there anything else that you've got planned on the horizon? Anything that you can talk about?
Biggest focus,
Just
right?
remember, it's just us.
So I'm hoping the Toast guys will get off the ground. Spent a lot of time speaking to Tsikwe in Joburg with Stimula Brewing, so hoping to help in some way get his business flying. Sugarbird is a big thing in my mind, working with Yappy Chef. Thunder Fund is a big focus, seeing if I can be of any value and help to them. The other thing is also we've been looking very closely at craft beer logistics, and I think there's a lot of problems in our industry, and so we tried to plug a gap with League of Beers, but I don't think we got quite far enough. So cans, we're looking at that. And also we want to try and help the guys from the draft point of view. We've got some things up our sleeve to see if we can try and add value and solve some problems for the beer drinking people of this world, of this country at least.
Where is, this is a two-part question. Where is the South African the beer market heading? And, what you're pretty good at spotting trends. Do you foresee anything happening besides cans? I'd love it if cans got you sooner.
Cans will happen soon because cans will also bring the prices down, which will help the craft beers be more competitive with the mainstream beers. The other things we're working on can also help bring the prices down. So price is a factor. I think more and more people are drinking craft beer. A Standard Bank study said R1 billion worth of retail sales of craft beer happened in 2016, 2017.
As long as it wasn't a KPMG study.
Yeah, there's. Do you know that I did a tasting at KPMG the day before they had their big announcement?
Oh, lovely.
So orkies. Anyway,
Moving on.
didn't enjoy that too much, but it's a great company, great bunch of people. I had a really good time with them. We did a full craft beer and gin tasting there. It was, I think they needed it, to be honest. So the beer trend in South Africa, because I've been shouting about the can thing for a long time, but I think Anheuser-Busch, lovely people, are going to make life more difficult for the craft beer guys. And clearly Heineken have got craft beer in their sight, because I think craft beer is a much more direct competitor to the Heineken drinker, because most craft beer drinkers used to drink Heineken or Windhoek, because they put a little bit more thought into what they're drinking.
Yeah.
And that's your obvious competitor. This is why Heineken is buying Lagunitas, buying Soweto Gold, buying Stellenbosch, and making
That is the
offers to some of the bigger ones.
latest news at the moment. That's what I was kind of also leading to. That Soweto has just been bought. Soweto
Not
Gold.
Soweto the place, but Soweto Gold the brewery.
Well, you could argue that.
But I mean,
market
could have
share.
got big pockets. But so that's the acquisition of craft breweries is going to become a bigger and bigger thing.
Are we going to see that?
Yeah, definitely. So it's a major. I mean, if Heineken can play 100 million,
Should you and I start a brewery? We've been talking about it for years.
what Pretty Boys Brewing Company.
Pretty Boys Brewing Company. I've got the patent and the rights already
Ready to go.
registered.
And you've got the design. So it's good to have a brewery at this point in time to be purchased. Because I think some of these guys are getting into the business of selling breweries more than they are selling their own beers, because the market has become that competitive. But so when those guys scale up, their prices will come down. The market's very competitive right now, and we've just come out of quite a tough winter for craft brewers, because there are so many craft brewers around in South Africa, making it very difficult. So we've seen through League of Beers that craft beer sales are growing very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But we're not one brand. We're working with all the brands. So we're benefiting from that. Because a lot of brands, I think, are struggling in the competition with each other. So I think what's very important is that the South African craft brewers broaden their horizons and we start selling to more broader parts of South Africa. So selling craft beer in Brackenfell, and selling craft beer in Soweto, and selling craft beer in Benoni, in places where craft beer has not yet been consumed. I think that's an important factor.
So I'm just looking for your next Dave Matthews
Drunken
song.
Soldier. I mean, I think if we go between
What
Dave
about
Matthews Band,
American Baby? That's
that's a good song. Drunken Soldier is a really good one.
yeah, but I've only got
You're
a
struggling to
certain-
find it.
It's only got. I have to switch between programs.
No, that's fine. Don't worry.
So it's going to be
American Baby's good.
It's going to be American Baby. up next.
South African Baby. But
Oh, yes.
the one thing I keep on losing my train of thought. But the
It happens a lot on the show. Don't worry.
There's all these drinking beers in the middle of the day. This is a rare thing for me.
One day you can be like me.
I think there's still a lot of room and potential for growth for South African craft beer. But it's going to be the guys who differentiate themselves. People like Toast Ale, people like Stimula. A lot of the bigger brands are going to have to continue to innovate in the way they're doing and making a great product, but at an accessible price, and also focusing on education, because we need to be available to more and more people in South Africa. We can't just be selling to beer nerds, because there's only so many beer nerds in this country. Is that a lift door behind you?
Yes.
Does anyone ever pitch up?
No,
wrong
and
floor.
I hope they don't pitch up, because then I'll get a fright. They'll get a fright. No, it's an old elevator door.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that in terms of what these
elevator
craft
door,
brewers, in terms of what these craft brewers need. And it just seems like we're getting more and more new craft breweries popping up in South Africa, which is good. But hopefully the industry is growing.
Yeah, I do think so.
I think we're
ready to wrap it up.
We're ready to wrap it up. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to say, but the show is a short show. I did have another beer, but I think we'll save it for another time, another rainy day. Robbie H.
Well, I got a like from Lauren McGregor.
Ooh.
She's obviously
Who's this Lauren McGregor? She's not.
obviously appreciating my inviting you to and her to parties and helping you with your child rearing. Oh, yeah, James has tweeted, the best beers are the ones we drink with friends.
There we
Wild
go.
Dogs ZA. Previously he gave it to League of Beers, but he looks to like he's taken it back.
No, it is. It's. We've always said, or I've always said that a good beer is dependent on the occasion, and when you're having it. So that's what's...
And what box it comes in.
And what box it is. Ladies and gentlemen, this show is sponsored by Liga Beers. My Liga Beers mixed case is in the post, I've been told, and my Yappy Chef 5,000 Rand voucher.
Thank you very much, Troy. It's been real.
Cool. Rob, I've been wanting to get you on the show for a long time. I really appreciate it. I can't believe we've gone now an hour and a half. Is there anything you want to say to the people? Will we see you at Oktoberfest? Will we see you at the beer festivals? It's a big end of year coming up. It always happens where there's just too much happening. There's lots of beer drinking, but we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll see you at all the many festivals and parties happening coming up soon.
Cool. Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us, and thank you for bringing some beers. Looking forward to trying some of the Australian brewery beers when they can be launched at Liga Beers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. We're going to call it a day. And Rob, again, thank you very much for all your knowledge, all your wisdom. Thank you for sharing. And well done on Sugarbird.
Thanks, man. I was looking forward to seeing you at the party tomorrow night at the Media 24 building. Tickets on Quicket.
Okay, so anyway, okay, cool. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to join us for the Sugarbird, you're welcome to go to Quicket. And yeah, apart from that, we will see you next week where we are talking to Wolfgang from CBC.
Wolfgang, all the way from Bavaria.
That was Rob, by the way, not me. I don't want to get tasered.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to that show. So guys, thank you very much. And
Scott Kelly from CBC going to be on the show as well.
He's in the States, unfortunately.
Okay,
that's a pity.
That's why
but yeah, if you have any feedback or comment, you are welcome to get hold of me. Hit me up at #BeerTime on any social media. Cool, guys. Thank you very much. We'll play out with one last Dave Matthews Band.
Oh,
Rob, this is for you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you later. Thank you very much. Ciao, ciao.
Troy.
Thanks for listening, guys and girls. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Just search for #BeerTime. That's #BeerTime written out in full. Hope you enjoyed the show, and check you next time. Cheers.